Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker. Today, I want to talk to you about a new topic. So basically, what I want to talk to you guys about is stigmatized properties. So what the heck does that mean? Stigmatized properties. Well, basically, it could mean a couple of different things, okay? So stigmatized properties could be properties with things around them that are not so appealing for buyers or people that want to live there. Other things could be is that, has something happened to that property that has stigmatized the property as well. Let's start with what has happened to the property that could kind of stigmatize a property. And when we say stigmatize a property, it actually ends up meaning that they're actually worth a little bit less because of what has happened to them. It depends on market conditions and the buyer's perspective on the property, but it could definitely affect the property value of it. So now sometimes, and not to start off with something very gruesome, but some houses, there are, murders that occur into these homes and stuff like that. There are homes that get used for like illegal substances being grown there. Because of these things happening over there, they do get publicized, usually on the news, the address is publicized, and it does stigmatize a property. So people sometimes are weary about coming into these properties. Obviously, if there was something that, a murder or something like that, a death has taken place there, people might be like, hey, there's ghosts living in the property, or something really bad has happened here and I don't want to be here. And sometimes with homes that have had illegal substances grown there, you don't know how they've kind of treated the property in terms of like, is there mold there? Have they, tapped into the electrical system in a bad way? Like what else has kind of gone on over in the property? So typically we see these properties trade for a lesser value. By the way, all of these things need to be disclosed to a buyer. So it's not like you can just go ahead and sell this property if something like this happened. And if there is something that's criminally happened over there, whether it was a murder, substances grown in the property, they have to be disclosed. Just to put it out there, if there was something natural cause, like somebody just died because of old age or something else like that, that doesn't necessarily have to be disclosed. But so these are situations that can actually stigmatize a property. Another thing that can stigmatize property is that where it is actually located. And these things could be like railroad tracks. They could be cemeteries, which I got an interesting story to tell you guys about. Maybe hydro lines in the back. Maybe it's not located in such a nice area. So these are all the things that can kind of stigmatize a property. Like we've had specific example of a property in North Pickering. So I've sold a lot of these townhouses on the street over here. Usually we get a lot of kickback. So on one side, there's a cemetery at the back of it, a very active cemetery, I should add. And on the other side, there isn't. But the side that we always get, like when we get listings on that side of where it backs onto the cemetery, we call and follow it with everybody. 50% of our feedback is they don't want to buy that house because it backs up onto a cemetery. And so this really stigmatizes a property. Now, when market conditions were different and there's not that much inventory, people will still kind of make the sacrifice and say, yeah, okay, it's fine. And they'll find the positive points in it, like it's peaceful. No one's should be living in the back there and whatnot. But when you have more inventory, people have more options and it becomes a little bit more of a difficult property to sell because a lot of times if you have the option, I don't think you want to be staring out into a cemetery from your backyard. So that's one of the major ones. The other one that I've ran across before too is like hydro lines. And I guess it depends on how bad the hydro lines are. Some of them just have like the hydro wires kind of running in the back, which I would say maybe is a little bit less of an eyesore. And I've seen properties where they actually have the entire tower at the back. And if you are in the backyard, you could probably listen to the line zapping back there. And the other thing also is railroad track. So if you have a railroad track running in the back, depending on what kind of railroad track it is, if you have like a freight train running back there, those things run at all kind of hours. There is ways that you can get information on roughly how often they run, but maybe not so much of a specific schedule. And then there might be even a GO train that runs in the back, which might be a little bit more acceptable because they kind of run during business hours and maybe they're not going to be running at night that it would be such a disturbance and they kind of go by quickly. They're not a 100-car train going by. So these are the things that could affect property values. Another thing that can affect property value is people's perception about different areas as well. So I had a buddy of mine that ended up buying a property in Oshawa, and I'm sure he gets comments all the time of like, wow, you actually moved to Oshawa? Like, is it safe there? Like, you know, it has this stigmatized of this area with Oshawa. Even Oshawa, you guys may have heard, is like, you know, basically people say avoid South Oshawa and you want to be in Poshawa, which is basically like North Oshawa. I even remember for myself, when I bought my first house in Pickering and I moved into it in 2012, I actually ended up buying it in 2010 pre-construction. And people were just shocked. They're like, you're going to move to Pickering, like all the way out there? Do you know they have a nuclear power plant there? And look at Pickering now, you know, fast forward like 10 years into this thing, 10 or 12 years into this, it is the place to be. Like, properties are so expensive. It's a highly regarded area now, and it's still got so much more legs to grow, and people would not really talk about it that way anymore. So there are different things that stigmatize properties, but I think, again, like if you guys heard me talk, in the long run, real estate's always going to kind of win. So I want to leave you guys with that. If you guys have any questions about stigmatized properties and how it could affect property value, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Like this video, share this video. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. There's a lot of good things that we're dropping on there that could probably help you guys out. And I'd be more than happy to jump on to a Zoom call with you guys if you guys like, as long as you like and share my video. Until next time, guys, remember one thing: get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.